Guys, what I'm going to tell you in this video, most of you will be probably very shocked or are not planned for what is going to happen in September, but I do believe that the signs right now in Bitcoin is very clear, and I can tell you exactly what I think is going to happen for September and what you need to do in order to stay safe and in order to stay sane in these market conditions. So guys, we are going to start with, and this is the most important chart for September, that is the Bitcoin dominance. And why is the Bitcoin dominance the most important chart for September? Because this will tell us what is going to happen. So the Bitcoin dominance, when it comes down, you either have one situation, and that is that speculation is going on and that liquidity is flowing from Bitcoin to altcoins, which is generally a lot of confidence in the markets, right? When Bitcoin dominance goes up, you can either have two scenarios, but both have something in common. So the first scenario is when the Bitcoin dominance goes up, that liquidity from altcoins is flowing back to Bitcoin. That can happen in two ways. That is either Bitcoin is rallying like late in the bull market, going to new highs, grabbing all the attention. Therefore, everyone is just throwing their money back into Bitcoin, the king, so to say. And the other thing is that when Bitcoin is dumping, you also see the Bitcoin dominance rise because of the uncertainty. So when the Bitcoin dominance goes down, there is certainty, confidence in the markets. When Bitcoin dominance goes up, it's either confidence in Bitcoin or there's no confidence in the markets. That's why money flows to the one that most stable, even though it is going down. So when we dive into the charts right here on the Bitcoin dominance and we look at the daily time frame, we can actually see a massive bullish divergence. So we have a low and a higher low in the relative strength index, as you can see, but we have a massive lower low right here in the chart. We even can make somewhat of a support coming in here as well, where you can see we had a touch here, and right now we are touching that support again. And previous time we touched that support, we had quite a significant bounce in the Bitcoin dominance. So a lot of other people are talking about this as well already for months. One of them is Benjamin Cowen. He's been mentioning, this is actually another tweet that I want to share with you, but he's talking about this one. So late August, we often see like a pump in the altcoins, right? And this is the last bull market year, so to say. So every time in late August, we have seen somewhat of a bounce in the altcoins, which we have seen this August as well. Right now we are in September, and most of the time when we are seeing that bounce in August, we are seeing a decrease in September. And this is just where liquidity is flowing. So it still can be the option Bitcoin rallying and altcoins just don't catch up quick enough with Bitcoin. That's why more liquidity is concentrated in Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin dominance goes up, or Bitcoin is decreasing in a correction. That's also what makes liquidity flowing from altcoins to Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin dominance goes up as well. So it looks like right now, looking at the charts, that we can definitely say that most likely the Bitcoin dominance will go up in September. Another thing what you can think about is that during September, in the final year of a bull market, this is what I said in my previous video as well, we are seeing in September every time in the last year of the bull market, we are seeing a correction, a low being formed in September. We had that in 2017, we had it in 2021. Could we have it in 2025 as well? I think it's definitely possible. There's only one catch to it, and the catch is that the sentiment right now seems to be slightly bearish. That's what I personally feeling, but I can be completely wrong on this, right? But the sentiment feels slightly off. It feels slightly bearish, and that might mean that this September is different. But don't forget that we also get Jerome Powell's rate cuts maybe in this September. A lot of people, they think the chances are very high that we are going to get rate cuts. Does that necessarily mean that the price has to go up? No, because everyone is already anticipating this event. So it's actually even possible that even though we get rate cuts, the price goes down. So for me, from a technical standpoint, if you look at all the signals in the markets, the chances of a correction in September is statistically higher. And it's very likely that the Bitcoin dominance will increase. So there is a lower probability that Bitcoin is going to take off in September, and that's why the Bitcoin dominance is going to increase. However, my personal strategy, especially for my hodl portfolio, is to not touch anything. I'm not going to touch my altcoins, flip it back to Bitcoin, and then later hope for a better entry with altcoins. Because, guys, if we have a look at previous times where we have seen, for example, in late August, the pump in altcoins, then September we have the correction again. You can see in this chart is that many altcoins started to rally extremely quickly afterwards, and that is where most money was made in the bull market. And in terms of timing, I think we are specifically there. So we are in this last month's phase. We are going to top probably somewhere in the next months. And altcoins are going to make significant rallies and significant gains. That's what I personally believe. But it will happen in a very short amount of time. So if you are going to flip-flop your portfolio all the time, you risk losing the exposure in the tokens you position for when the big rally comes, right? And maybe your portfolio loses a little bit of value, but it's still, the potential upside is still pretty high. If we look at individual altcoins and we look at these charts, the potential downside is actually not that high. If you guys want, in one of the next videos, I can look at some of the altcoin charts. Just let me know in the comment section below. But the altcoins that I'm looking at, if they are all kind of at support levels. So maybe they dip back into support. Maybe they get a small fake out, which can scare a lot of people. Scare the hodlers, of course, get that last September panic, and then eventually take off. Like, I think all the charts right now are telling a similar story. And my strategy based on that story is to just sit tight, relax the holiday, and time to relax and sit it out, because patience is very important when you are playing this game. Then, guys, Bybit has been switching their platform from Bybit Global to Bybit EU. So I had to withdraw all my funds from Bybit. I have to redeposit them into the EU platform, but I have to provide a lot of additional information and so forth and so forth. So in the meantime, I actually took my assets from Bybit, put them into the Femex platform. Femex is one of the exchanges with the longest track record, similar as Bybit. It's not a new exchange on the block. It is a very exchange with a long track record. And you can actually use Femex as well without KYC. So joining the Femex platform, using the affiliate link in the description will give you the ability to use that platform without KYC. I personally deposit, for example, Luna Classic. That's one of the altcoins that I'm holding, and it's a bit difficult to have that in a cold storage. I put them into the Femex platform. That's just one of the tokens, but there are more tokens where I actually use Femex for right now, because right now I do believe that if you use an exchange, that is one of the safer options because of the long track record it has, because Femex actually launched quite quickly after Bybit got launched, and so all the market crashes that we have seen during the time, Femex exchange survived, which is for me a very important factor when picking an exchange to deposit a little bit more funds into, right? When there's an exchange that just been around the corner for one single year, I'm going to be a little bit more careful with depositing funds into that specific exchange. Anyway, guys, this is my strategy. Thank you all for watching. Drop a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe if you are new. Wish you all a beautiful day, and I hope to see every single one of you in the next video. Bye bye.